Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest won a big and important victory for the Gunners tonight. It was a hard-fought game. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Nottingham Forest, resolute, very negative, very hard to break down in that first half. They sat back. They gave Arsenal very little space whatsoever. And tonight was about Arsenal being calm. Tonight was about Arsenal staying relaxed. Tonight was about Arsenal ensuring that when they got their gilt-edged chances, they were clinical. And they were absolutely that tonight, Arsenal. All I've heard from Arteta outers, all I've heard from rivals, all I've heard from anybody that will listen when it comes to Arsenal in the last 3 weeks is forget performances. All that matters is results. They delivered another big result today away at Nottingham Forest, a team that have been hard to break down of late, a team that are very negative under Nuno, are very resolute, sit with two solid banks of players with very little space in between. And in the second half, as soon as Forest started to open up to try and get their goal, that allowed a lot more space on the transition for Arsenal, a lot more space to be exploited, and they did that absolutely brilliantly. When it comes to Gabriel Jesus, the standout player, the absolute standout player for Arsenal today by an absolute country mile, in my opinion. He took his goal impeccably well. It was just good thinking, good quick thinking from Arsenal to catch Nottingham Forest asleep, really. And to score from that acute angle with his left peg was great. Excellent in the build-up play, which led to Arsenal's second goal that essentially killed the tie off, the winning goal from the brilliant Bukayo Saka. But it was his overall play, Gabriel Jesus, today. Some of his touches, some of his silks, some of his skill, some of the breaking of the lines today. Absolutely brilliant from him. And he almost scored one of the goals of the season as well, with great interplay from the likes of Gabriel, from Saka, Odegaard into him. He ended up striking the post. And maybe some Arsenal fans were thinking at that point, at that stage, is today going to be our day? Is today going to be one of those days where we just don't quite get over the line? But as I said before about this Arsenal team, I still think there's another level for them to go up this year. This was another title-worthy champion-style win where you're maybe not at your best, where you maybe struggle to break down a very resolute and very difficult team, but they come up trumps again. And it's 2 games running now where Arsenal fans have demanded a result. Arsenal fans have demanded they be clinical when they get their opportunities, and they have absolutely done that. And the most impressive thing today from Arsenal is that in the first half, look, they dominated the game, but you would probably rate their performance a 4 out of 10 in that first half. But they didn't panic. In some games in that poor run in December and early January, where they won 1 in 7, their players started to panic early, cutting in and just taking unnecessary shots, not going on the outside, hitting crosses too late, taking too many touches, panicking, essentially. Tonight, what you saw from this Arsenal team was the beginning of what could become a very mature team. Thinking things through, sticking to their game, staying relaxed at the most opportune moments. And that is what led to them winning. And even though at the end they did concede, in my opinion, a sloppy goal, I thought Saliba wasn't so great. Should have been a little bit stronger in that situation. Although Mawani is a very strong guy, they didn't panic after that point. And that there, if you're an Arsenal fan, you should take forward and go, that puts you in good stead. What this win also does for Arsenal, it takes a huge amount of pressure off of the game against Liverpool. They're going to want to win. It is still must win. But if they hadn't have won tonight, it would almost be win or your Premier League season is essentially over, especially if Liverpool now win tomorrow. There is more pressure on Liverpool at Anfield tomorrow night up against Chelsea because that gap has been closed, which means they're going to work harder. There'll be more negative energy in the air, especially if things don't go their way. And then they travel to the Emirates Stadium this Sunday for what is, I think, so far this season is going to be the biggest game of the campaign due to the fact we have these teams in what I think is going to be one of the greatest title races in the history of Premier League football. And as I say, A lot of people will probably state to you this was another average Arsenal performance. I disagree. Yes, there are times that we've seen Arsenal in Premier League history rip through teams, 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, kill the game off by the 60th minute. Not every football match is like that. Whether you're peak Liverpool, peak Man United, peak Man City, peak Chelsea, peak Barcelona, peak Real Madrid, I have seen dozens and dozens of these games in title races. This is atypical for a late mid-season game where you're up against a team in relegation who's fighting for their lives, who feels there's a lot of adversity at their club, who are sitting back, just like Palace did, being ultra negative, almost impossible to break down, barely any space, hoping that you panic and hoping that they can break on the counter-attack, get a goal and sit back and absorb again. And Arsenal didn't fall into that trap. Arsenal did their job today. They got the win. They were clinical when they had their proper gilt-edged chances. They had 3 or 4 real opportunities to score in the game where you would say you should score. They took 2 of them. They put the game to bed. And every single Arsenal fan worth his or her salt should be absolutely buzzing. Yes, you want more, but you're dominating these games. You're barely under any threat in your last 2 matches. And that is a sign of a team that can win the Premier League. I'm not saying will, because Man City is still my favourites, but this is the sign of a team that can win a league title. The game after Liverpool, I think, is going to tell us a hell of a lot more. I think it's going to open our eyes up a hell of a lot more. But I think Arsenal fans should be absolutely proud of themselves tonight. Cal here says, we weren't clinical at all. See, I disagree. In the first half, you didn't have chances. You had a lot of the ball, but you weren't creative enough in the first half. You struggled to break down Nottingham Forest, and you would credit them for that. In the second half, what were your chances? You had the wonderful worked move where Gabriel Jesus shoots and hits the post. You could, that's not clinical. You've missed that opportunity. I get it. The next opportunity was Gabriel Jesus who run in and he scored from an acute angle, but he beat the line, got in through and scored. The next opportunity came 7 minutes later where Bukayo Saka was put through with an opportunity to shoot the goalkeeper and he scored. Your gilded chances in the game you took. That is what I personally call being clinical. Sometimes in games, you might score 3 goals, but they're all kind of half chances, speculative efforts, a free kick, as an example, maybe a penalty. That doesn't make you more clinical. Tonight, when Arsenal got their chances to score, their real gilt-edged opportunities, they put them away. So I do think Arsenal were clinical with those opportunities tonight. All season, what I have heard from Arsenal fans is when we get those proper chances, we're not taking them. Tonight you did. And when you break it down as well, that's 4 goals now, 5 goals from open play in the last 2 games. Another statistic which has really annoyed Arsenal fans in the last 2 matches is starting to come alive again. I think there is green shoots of real promise there for the second half this season for Arsenal supporters. Let's have a little look here. Some more of your comments coming in. 50% clinical. That's good, bruv. If a team finished 50% of its big chances created, or it's really like it's high-rated XG opportunity, do you know how many goals they would score, Kieran? That would be a phenomenal conversion rate. You know, Lionel Messi's big chance conversion rate in his career is at 18%. And that's elite. So if your team had a 50% conversion rate, that's beyond clinical. That's surgical, mate. This year, Emil Smith-Rowe oozes tactical ability. Would love to see him more. Also, Saka finally learning to use his right foot. Nervy at the end, but we move. Yeah, look, I think it's a great point you raised there. Look, in the first half, you did struggle to break them down. But that wasn't you guys being poor per se. It's also great defending from Nottingham Forest. Smith-Rowe is much better in that position, in my view, than Kai Havertz. He's just so much better on the ball. Kai Havertz played his part later on in the game. I think Smith-Rowe should be starting the match against Liverpool, in my personal and humble opinion. Kenny here, one of our members, said, I would love a bit more fluidity in our attack, is all. But Kenny, do you know why there's less fluidity? Genuinely why there's less fluidity? The last 2 matches you've played in, there's been barely any space to move the ball. And still, there's been some really nice football. In the first half, there was 2 or 3 opportunities that nearly came to chances that could have been great. Is it going to be 3-1? No, they cleared it off the line, Newcastle. Newcastle on fire tonight. Everyone wrote them off, didn't they? Eddie Howe's going to be sacked 2 weeks ago. Football's funny, ain't it? So I get that. In the second half, as soon as Forest went, right, we might try and score now, and there was a bit more space, I thought Arsenal's football going forward looked very nice. Smash the like button, people. Thank you very much, Luke Skywalker, you absolute legend. Sane here says, final 5 minutes will cloud the casuals' judgments of the game, but it was pretty much perfection, sustained pressure, and they were ruthless in front of goal. Yeah, look, I agree. I completely agree with you. And the irony in it is this. LB said it on the show earlier today on Straight Facts. All Arsenal need to concern themselves with over the next few weeks is results, not performances. The Arteta outers, all I heard through December is get results, get results, get results. Everyone that hates Arsenal, you just got to get results in the title race, Arsenal. Arsenal get results, and now it's all about the performance. When people speak out both sides of their mouths, no one really takes them that seriously anyway. Look, I thought the performance was good. They had control of the game. They had only a handful of gilt-edged chances because Forest were good for large parts of this game. And when they arrived, they took them. I don't know listen, I know we all want to win 5-0 every week, but that's an unrealistic expectation to put on your team. I thought Arsenal well-deserved winners tonight. Don't be too positive. Arsenal fans don't like it. Yeah, look, I understand. It's not about being too positive or being negative. I'm just going to tell people how I saw the game. It's what I've always done. Look, as I've said all season, this Arsenal team are 110% in a title race. This Arsenal team is, in my opinion, is going to go down to the last 4 or 5 games of the season with a genuine, bona fide chance of winning this league title. 100%. I don't see it going any other way. They're a phenomenal team. They really, okay, let me rephrase that. They've got phenomenal talent in lots of positions. They're a very good team. They have the ability to become a phenomenal side. They really do. You're not in a title race 2 years running against this City team and not a very good side. It's crazy to me that we can look at that and say that. It's really weird to me. As football fans, we can say it. Arsenal had 91 possession for 10 minutes. It was crazy. Forest had everyone in the box. There was a stat in the first half that demonstrated sort of like nearly 90% possession and 101 passes in the final third from Arsenal and 1 from Nottingham Forest. Dominant. But this is what teams are now doing to Arsenal, is they are sitting so deep because they're so scared of them. They're sitting so deep, they're barely moving. Now, what Arsenal are going to have to do in the coming years is either develop or purchase players who are even better than what they have now at breaking down and unpicking these locks. But I'd love my club to be in a position where teams were almost too scared to attack us. Almost too scared to attack you. That's why the Liverpool game is going to be so amazing on Sunday, because both teams are going to open up. Both teams are going to attack. We are going to be in for an absolute goddamn treat. Let's do some more of your comments before I bring the panel out today. Sorry, a comment in there really made me laugh. Terry, a lot of blind trolls. Yeah. And they are, a team is definitely scared of Arsenal if they sit 11 men behind the ball for 80% of the game. That's basics. Terry, the headbutt talk. The headbutt talk about it, please. VAR missed. What headbutt? What headbutt? Am I going to have to search headbutt now on Twitter? What headbutt? I don't know what headbutt you're talking about. I just searched headbutt on Twitter and there's nothing even on Twitter. No one's even talking about it. Is that just you that's saying that? I've heard no one else say it. Big up to yourself, Saliba. I appreciate you tuning in. Hello, Darren. Says, come on, you gooners. Thank you, my bro. Now talk about VAR. Now, what do you want me to talk about? What happened tonight with VAR? Genuinely, what did VAR get wrong tonight? What happened? I'm confused. Oh, Nketiah headbutted someone. Okay, let me put Nketiah. I must have missed that when I was setting up the stream. I didn't hear it. I didn't see that. I don't have commentators on my stream, though, because obviously I'm using man like Satanta, but hang on a sec. Nketiah headbutt. Nope. I'm seeing nothing on socials about this. I'm seeing something about a Southampton player headbutting him. That's old. I don't know. Someone send me a link. Someone send me a link and I'll look at it. I can't see anything. I can't see anything. I've gone on Twitter, put Nketiah headbutt, And the earliest thing I'm getting is from October 2022, where he was headbutted. You say Forest have no fans, but you're talking about it. Where is it? But yeah, I didn't personally see it, my friend. Terry, they blocked Saka's older brother. Don't even know what that means. Terry, can I get... Oh, yeah, we're going to share the link in a little bit, my friend. Oh, my God, Liverpool haven't played yet, and rivals are complaining that Terry ain't going to talk about them when the stream is about Forest versus Arsenal. Yeah, tomorrow night we'll talk about the Liverpool game. That's what we'll do. It's crazy. I don't understand. Yeah, I thought VAR was right tonight. VAR didn't draw the lines for the offside check on their goal. It did on the screen I was watching, but you didn't need the lines. You could tell that was online. I saw a line anyway. I 100% saw a line. So yeah, their goal was onside. Forest goal was 100% onside for me, personally. Mafia Boss here says, come on, you gooners. Look at the clear foul before the Jesus goal. All right, I'm going to search Jesus goal now. Jesus goal. Let's go to the media section here. Where is it? Here we go. What foul? He doesn't touch anyone. The ball gets thrown in. I'm watching it here. Throw-in was taken. Jesus gets the ball in space and then flicks it with his left peg. He didn't touch anyone. He didn't touch anyone. What do you mean? I'm so confused tonight. I'm watching the goal here. I wish I could show it on my screen. No one even gets close to... before the throw. Well, okay, I'll have to try and find that because the clip's only 14 seconds long on here. Oh, come on, it weren't a foul. It weren't a foul. Anyway, do you know what's really weird? I'm going to say this now. People tell me, we're not scared of Arsenal. Arsenal is irrelevant. Why are you all so rattled about them winning? Why? This is the thing. I've had a lot of men, or so-called men, DM me, Bob, how dare you say I'm scared of Arsenal? I haven't actually personally said they're scared. And I think to myself, as a man, you chat about Arsenal all the time, slag them off all the time, get rattled when they're winning. I think you're a bit scared of them, yeah. I think you're at the very least a little bit intimidated. Somewhat. What's the expression? Like lions don't care about sheep. If you're not fearful of them, why are you rattled that they won a game against Forest? That's what I don't understand. That's because we all know you are fearful of them because they're a very good team. Of course they are. Strange to me. We couldn't care less about Arsenal, Terry, but wow, no ball, late trip is a foul, simple as. Yeah, I don't think it was a foul personally. But there we go. People hate when Arsenal win, Tel. Oh, look, and I'm not going to lie. Look, there are Arsenal fans that hate when Liverpool win and when Spurs win and when City win. It works everywhere, which way. But those Arsenal fans would admit they're intimidated by Liverpool and City anyway. I get why with them. There we go. Turner is a massive embarrassment. Terry thinks he's good because of United. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great goalkeeping for the goal, but Jesus also shot the ball with his left foot. I don't think Turner wasn't expecting. It was very, very clever from Gabriel Jesus. It really, really was. They beat Forest. Now they're going to win the league. Last week it was over and Arteta out. Joke club. Well, people that back Arteta, people that think he's good enough to maybe win them a league, none of them said it was all over last week. The only people saying it was over was predominantly rivals and people that dislike Mikel Arteta. And it never was. City are still the favourites. I don't think anybody would deny that. They are definitely still the favourites to win the Premier League. But Arsenal are certainly in this race. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Anybody who thinks that Scousers are scared and rattled by Arsenal are crazy. That is what Scouse Cop has got to say to us all here today. Terry, we know they say you twerk for Arsenal. Really wish they know success. I'm sure you just want United to start being United again. How you doing, Ellie? Look, I do. But I've got a job to be I don't like being biased. It's not something I enjoy doing. And if Arsenal, people that have watched the Football Terrace long enough, 3-1, Everton just got a goal back, Ollie Watkins. When Arsenal were bad, coming 8th and everything else, I criticised them heavily. Since they've become a good team and they're in the title race, I praise them. When Liverpool have been the best team in the world, I've said they're the best team in the world. When they've had poor moments, I said they've been poor. You know, when Chelsea were flying under Tuchel, I said, wow, look at the team that this guy's building. When they've gone backwards, I've heavily criticised their performances. I'm fair. It's just some people don't like it that Arsenal are doing well right now, but we move. Right, time to bring out some of the panel now. Matt's here with us. Gunnar Sulz is here. A man like, Studio Hooks is here with us as well. I was about to speak. You know, sometimes you're about to speak and you feel a cough coming. Not that anyone's here for me to cough over. I'm all in a room by myself. We're going to bring out the guys now after another important win for Arsenal. Welcome back to the show, gents. Gunnar Sulz, big and important win for Arsenal tonight. It really was. Took their chances well in the second half. Closed the gap on Liverpool. Talk to me.
I already know how I'm dying. It's going to be an Arsenal heart attack. This team cannot win comfortably, can they? They can never make it easy for us. But you know what? This is going to rattle a lot of people, but that was played to perfection. That is absolutely how you break a low block. That's exactly how you have patience in a team who are in a relegation battle that are looking to win. You know their plan from the very get-go is try and keep it 0-0. You know Awoniyi and Elanga, Callum Hudson-Odoi, all on the bench. What does that really tell the manager? It tells you a lot. They're going to try and hold back. They're going to stay in a low block, but up until the 70th, 80th minute. And guess what? They're going to attack you. So Arteta knew this. He needed to keep control. He needed to try and do whatever he could to keep this game 0-0, control the transition, and ensure that no one gets in behind and we don't get broken down and scored on in the first 20th minute. So that's the way I see this game. I don't think a lot of people are overblowing it to the point where, yes, it was a boring first half. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying it was scintillating football to watch. I'm not saying that people need to be proud of the performance. But this is what we need to see against teams that we know we struggle against, that teams that we know that we have a hard time beating, because we haven't beaten Nottingham Forest in, what is it now, 4 to 5 seasons? I think the last time we beat them was under Wenger, and the game ended 4-3. So clearly there's something in them that we still haven't been able to get over. Beat them 2-1. We took our chances when we needed to. We made the right substitutions. I don't really think there's a lot other than the goal conceded was a bit weak, in my opinion. I don't think we should have conceded that goal. Saliba should have done way better for the quality he is. I think Gabriel had a few shaky moments this game, but this is what we needed to do. We needed the win at all costs. Even if we beat them 1-0 in the 90th minute, I don't really care, because now it sets us up for the Liverpool game. If we didn't win today, this whole season might have been over, because that Liverpool game just becomes a lot harder. We're 8 points behind. We're struggling to actually catch up to them. And if we lose that game, we're 11 points behind. So it sets us up to at least close the deficit down to 2 points if we manage to beat them. I can't complain. I think it was fine the way we played.
Yeah. Studio Hooks, do you agree with that yourself?
Yeah, man, wholeheartedly, man. I think Arsenal had a great game. You know, don't get me wrong, the last 5 minutes was a bit mad. We conceded some foolish FIFA ping pong goal, but outside of that, we dominated the whole game, man. Lumberjack football, man. We just kept chipping away at that tree, and we finally got the goal that we needed. It's just unfortunate that, like at least maybe 16 teams in the league like to play low block against us. Like, I just really want teams to play with freedom, man. If we just had teams playing with freedom, then, you know, we would see the Arsenal of last season, but people saw the Arsenal of last season, and now they don't want to give us freedom. So, do you know what I mean? And also, big up Jesus. Big him up, man, because he had an amazing game. I can't even lie. He had an amazing game. Like, some of the touches, some of the runs. It's unfortunate about that shot that hit the post. It's also unfortunate about that little flick that he did over his head. He didn't bury that into the top of the net. You know, would have been potentially one of the goals of the season. But you know what? I can't complain. I've been watching football YouTube. Everyone was telling me Arsenal need to win this game. We won the game. The performance doesn't matter. The result matters. If we lost this game, we're out of the title race. So maybe we're in the title race. So yeah, man. I think Arsenal fans need to celebrate.
I think they shouldn't. Again, what do you say to those individuals that maybe for the last 9 to 10 days have said, it's not about the performance, it's about the win. If we don't win, the season's over. What's your message to those individuals that are right now saying, great, we won, but the performance wasn't what I wanted?
Man, make your mind up, man. Make your mind up, man. What's important, man? Look, at the end of the day, I'm an Arsenal fan. I know people always got something to say about Arsenal, whether it's, rival fans or the angry Arsenal alliance. Someone's always going to say something. So, I just got to sit back, let Arteta do what he's doing, let my boys do what they're doing, and, just steady on climbing, man. At least this season, if we don't win it, no one can say to me, 93% at the top. We're the underdog, man. We're the underdog, man. So, let us just do our thing and we see what happens, man. We see what happens.
I hear you there, my bro. Matt, from your perspective, mate, were you impressed with Arsenal tonight? There's some Arsenal fans in the chat that still feel their comments come across to me like they're underwhelmed. How do you personally see it?
Well, I just want to agree with Sulz, to be honest. I know we have our disagreements in the group chat, but I got to agree with you. I think the game planned out perfectly. In terms of a low block, I think first half was pretty boring. We had like 90% or 95% possession, and we did nothing with it. Like, we couldn't do anything with it, which is the most frustrating part, I think, for Arsenal fans. And then in the second half, Jesus turned into a different monster. Jesus just completely switched on, just like that. He scored that goal from a very close angle. And then he set up Saka for a lovely goal. So I can't really complain too much about the second half. I feel like that went quite well. I was a bit annoyed right at the end, though. We kind of got a bit complacent. Saliba was quite poor in terms of conceding that goal. I think he needs to do a lot better there, like in terms of the quality he has. And what we pretty much know him as. Yeah, can't complain. 3 points, second place, on to Liverpool, on to the next.
Absolutely. Souls, I wanted to get your opinion on Gabriel Jesus tonight. His goal was obviously very good, but his overall performance tonight, he really led from the front and demonstrated his sort of title-winning sort of pedigree, really.
I mean, he's such an annoying player, isn't he? Because I don't understand this player. I just don't get it. Why does he make the hardest things look easy and the easiest things look hard? Like, this guy will miss an open net, but then score a 40-yard banger. Like, this guy makes no sense as a striker at all. That goal, out of all the chances he had the least rights to go in. That should not have been the goal that he scored. It should have been the one where Odegaard played him through and he hit the post. That should have been the goal. But that's the one he misses. And that's why I think it's very difficult to really talk about Gabriel Jesus as a whole and whether he has got the ability to win us the league, because everything about his game is what we need, but just that clinical edge, just to take that half a chance, when that opportunity falls to him, we need him to be able to take it, because there's games where we may not be able to create like 3, 4, 5 chances that we did manage to create him today, especially in a low block. In a low block situation, it's very difficult to give him this many opportunities again. And that's where I think people's frustrations come from. But then the problem is you sacrifice everything else. The ability to turn a man, the ability to kind of come in deep and actually link up play. If you want the goal-scoring striker, you're going to lose that element of Gabriel Jesus where he takes on men, he links up the play, he comes in deep into midfield and actually makes things happen and progresses the ball like that. So it's annoying. It's a bit of a dilemma that all Arsenal fans are going to face. Do we want a goal-scoring striker or do we want a Jesus and like a false nine type player? But today, phenomenal, big confidence, a goal and an assist, and that's what we need him to do going into Liverpool, because he's going to be the key component to beating them.
So I feel like Jesus kind of needs to be that wide rotational player for Saka, because let's face it, he is not a striker. He's not a striker. And at City, he played most of his time on the wing. So I think we kind of need to use that to our advantage and sign a proper striker whilst keeping Jesus.
Yeah, Hooks, from your point of view, when you look at Gabriel Jesus, obviously the goal was important today, but this level of performance is going to be needed from him because your front line just hasn't really been at that standard all year. More of the same, I assume you want to see.
I actually want to see more. I actually want to see more. We do need to score more goals as a whole. I can't lie. Sometimes it is a bit. We try to search for the perfect goal, but that was something that we did under Wenger. So I mean, that's something that I'm used to as an Arsenal fan. Arsenal have always tried to find the perfect goal instead of just clarting the ball into the back of the net. But you know, it is what it is. I do agree. I think that more so Jesus should be used as a rotational option with Saka. And I think in this game, you saw Jesus everywhere. Like you saw Jesus everywhere. He was just across the front three, interchanging with both Martinelli and Saka. There was even a moment where I saw Saka more central. So obviously, Arteta's trying to get it into these guys that, hey, we're allowed to be more fluid, you know. Like you guys are allowed to move around, you know, as long as you understand the position that you're moving into. So yeah, I personally don't think that the answer is to just go for a goal scorer, because then I feel like we don't play the same way if we get an out-and-out goal scorer. But I do think that the players...
I think we see in the team already when Eddie Nketiah plays and when Jesus isn't on the pitch. Like we do lose something. We lose an element that's why a lot of people criticize Nketiah. Don't get it twisted. I don't think Nketiah is a player of our caliber, but you start to see those sort of deficiencies in this team. I feel like Jesus needs to be the 8, a left 8 who can do all of that, because that's what we want this 8 to do, is someone who can come late into the box, overload the box, but someone who has the defensive capabilities as well. I feel like Arteta has his left 8, but doesn't want to use him there. But until we don't get that striker, we don't really know what the future plan holds.
I hear where you're coming from with that. I do. We have some super chats here. First one says, Terry, dilute and scare you. They were very good tonight, I hear. They were very good indeed. We need a touch more flair. We've dialed it back. Beckley, do you agree with this super chat? Do you think Arsenal have dialed back the style, the flair?
I disagree. I actually agree, because I think that recently we've, against Forest today, before we scored that goal, I thought we were shocking, to be honest. We controlled the game, but we didn't really do anything in the final thirds. About Jesus, though, he has all the flair, but he's not in the box. And I feel like, I disagree. I feel like if you get Ivan Toney in, I feel like he does hold the ball up. He does link play. He drops deep and he scores lots of goals. And I feel like if you watched before, someone Saka doesn't he hasn't got enough skill in his game. So I feel like somebody like a winger that could take on their man, like a Kudos, for example, we should have got, who can take on their man and can shoot, would have helped us a lot. But right now, I feel like in our team, I feel like we're lacking something in the final third, and I'm not sure what it is, to be honest. I think it's Arteta's tactics, to be honest, making us play slower, and I think our attackers, they benefit from we move the ball quickly because they get more space. But today, Martinelli, he didn't have much space and much room to take on their right back, and on the counter attack, when we shot second goal, we look better. Odegaard quick pass into Jesus. Jesus run down the middle, passing the Saka, and he scores. I thought we look a lot better and moving the ball quickly, and I feel like that's our main issue, actually.
I hear that, Nathan. Welcome back to the show. Do you think this is Arteta changing his tactics, or is it harder to move the ball against teams that are sitting low and in a deep block against you that allow very little space? Because I thought the ball moved very quickly in the second half when Nottingham Forest opened up. Like, what's your take on that? Does more flair need to be added, or is this just about adjusting to teams playing more negatively against you?
I think it's a combination of both, to be honest with you. I think it's to do with the personnel. I think it's the tactics. I think we've decided to be a lot more conservative this season. Safety first seems to be at the forefront of the players' minds and the manager's minds, and therefore this is the result of it. Because even when you look at a team like Liverpool are a team that will continually play vertical passes, will try and always move the ball forward, right? And instead this season, we've kind of taken on the Man City approach of moving the ball side to side and trying to look for openings. So I definitely think it's a tactical thing. I think, that left 8 position still isn't 100% sorted at the moment, and that's also hindering that fluidity in that regards. But yeah, I think a lot of it does stem from the manager and the manager's instructions, if I'm to be honest with you. And that's probably why we haven't been nowhere near as, fluid. And obviously, once we score, I think game state plays a massive part in how in the way in which we attack. So once we get a goal, whether it be from a set piece like the Palace game or today, teams will then have to open up, and then obviously it makes it a lot easier for you to play those vertical passes. But in terms of during a low block, it's we just move that ball side to side, and there seems to be no intention of actually trying to hurt the opponents. And it's something that I've been extremely critical throughout this season, and it's why today doesn't really answer many questions for me as a fan in terms of our weaknesses. Like, I can praise what we've done. I'm very happy we've got the result. 3 points is, at this stage of the season, it's what matters. But moving forward, I don't have confidence, to be completely honest, that we will, be able to break down these low blocks, because we still haven't shown that throughout this season. I mean, the way I look at it is, like, the simple analogies is, if you're in school and you're studying one subject, let's say maths, and you're always struggling in that subject, and you excel in other aspects, it doesn't mean you all of a sudden, that you haven't particularly strengthened what you're weak at, right? So just because you've got better at English, for instance, it doesn't mean you've worked on what your deficiency is, which is maths. And our deficiency this season has been low blocks. We haven't got any better at it. And that's why my faith is kind of dwindled. I mean, because the sample size is not the performances, and we've got a large enough sample.
Let me challenge you on that. When you say that, your last 2 games have been against teams that are low block, and you've scored 7 goals.
Yeah, all right. But then we also have to look at it contextually. So when you're looking at those 2 games, we scored 2 goals from set pieces against Palace, right? Which is, again, something we praise, but it's not opening up the low block. It's an alternative method of scoring. But as I've kind of alluded to on other shows, it's the chances from open play. And we don't create enough of those. And throughout the season, that will catch up with us, because you can't always rely on those set piece type of goals. And even today, that first half, we barely created anything from open play.
But set pieces is just another way to score, though.
Right, it is one way to score. I'm not, you're going on like I'm saying they don't count. I'm just saying to you, you need a balance of everything, right? In life, in any field, you need a balance. You need goals from set pieces, you need goals from open play, right? You need everybody to contribute. You need your centre backs to score goals at times, your forwards to score goals. That is what creates a successful team. So it's not critiquing the fact that we're scoring goals from set pieces. It's the fact that we're not doing enough through open play. We don't create enough chances through open play. And there are going to be games like today where our set pieces wasn't great, and we needed to create more from open play.
Wait, are we second in chances created from open play?
You are, yes. Joint with Man City, second in the league, yeah.
I mean, I would assume that we're now above them because we've played the game today and they haven't played yet. But yeah, I mean, I don't quite understand. I also don't understand why we really care as fans if we're not always breaking down low blocks and we're getting goals from set pieces. I mean, I'm from the 90s. I love goals from set pieces, man. Let's get more goals from set pieces. That's why we have a set piece coach, no? Like, I don't know. For me, I don't know, man. For me, it's perspective, right? Like, people say that the tactics, but we have to play this way. This is the way we play. And the fact that we pass from side to side, it makes their team move more, which means they lose energy, which means we can then play more openly, and then we create more chances towards the latter part of games, which is what happens. So I don't know, man. I don't know why people are so hung up on this stuff personally, but I don't know. Maybe I'm
do you know what it is for me? It's about, I always say this, like your performances kind of are an indication of where you'll move in the future, right? So like the better the performances, the more chances you create, the more you can take from that going into the season. And for me, it's been a weakness for us throughout the season. And I feel like I'd be a blind Arsenal fan, who I'd be just hoping and not calling out what I see as deficiencies within the squad or within our performances, and just kind of riding on, the fact that things are going well right now. Because yes, we've won our last 2 games and we've capitalized on moments, but there are still things that we can improve on. You look at the likes of City and Liverpool, who are up against, they are able to get set piece goals or last minute goals, but they also create various amount of chances, right? They break teams down. They're able to sustain that level of pressure, and it's why they're favourites, in my opinion, than Arsenal, because their forwards are responsible for a lot of chance creation and goals, whereas our forward line, right, doesn't have that at the moment. It's nowhere near as good as it was last season.
See, I'll be honest. Again, yeah, go on.
I was going to say that if you look at the style of football we're playing, it only really works if you got a clinical striker, because we're 5th big chances created this season, and if you look at that chance Jesus had in the second half, hit the post, a clinical striker scores that, and I feel like this slow, methodical football playing, passing it around, only really works with a clinical striker, that when that one chance comes, he scores it. But with our forwards right now, I feel like when they get their chances, you don't know if they're going to score or not. Sometimes they...
I do get where you guys are coming from, but and you guys are going to analyze your club differently to me, because I'm not watching with any emotion. If you win, you win. If you lose, I don't care. Does that make sense? It isn't my club. But this year in the Premier League, if we just look at big chances created, so this is real great opportunities to score. Man City are the best team in the world. They've created 50. Arsenal doesn't include today, hasn't updated for today. You guys have created 45. Open play chances, which don't include the big chances, you're joint with them. I believe you do create as many chances as everybody else. I think the difference between last year and this year, and I think maybe it's infecting the analytics from yourselves a little bit, is you are playing slower. I think some of that is tactics, because you're reserving energy for the whole season, and some of it is I don't think you guys have seen the defensive heat map of Forest today. They're basically all the dark red circles are basically on their goal line, if that makes sense. They're that deep as a team. Of course, you can't move the ball quickly when you've got 11 players in close proximity around the edge of their box. So, and I think it may take you some time to adjust to that and make the football look as pretty as last year. But you're one of the top goal scorers in the league. Good defensive record, again, as an example. One of the highest. I mean, ironically, Newcastle have created the most amount of big chances this year on 56. So you're only 11 big chances created away from being top of the league, which is, over 22 games, an extra half per game. Liverpool on 54, City on 50, Spurs and Villa are a couple ahead of you as an example. I'd be worried if I was again, maybe I'm projecting as a Man United fan, because we've only created 30 in a whole season and we currently sit 15th. I don't think your guys' attack is as bad. I just don't think Martinelli and Saka have been, and Jesus to a degree, have been as clinical as last year. And I just think it's being overanalyzed slightly. Just from the outside looking in, I just think it's slightly overanalyzed personally. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. It's I keep hearing Arsenal fans saying our attack isn't very good, and maybe I'm looking at it from jealous eyes. I think it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent.
Also, as well, Arsenal can't win because last season, Arsenal are playing too fast. They've started too fast. They're too emotional. They're going to trip up. They're going to burn out towards the end of the season. Man City.
The play style isn't sustainable.
Yeah, the play style's not sustainable. Man City, they're taking it slow. They're trying new things. They're building up. They're going to come in the second part of the season with loads of energy because they've been conserving themselves. When Arsenal do it, they're playing slow. Why are they not playing faster? Why don't we have the football from last season? But the same people, Arsenal were top for 93% of the season and you bottled the league. I mean,
I think it's just because they just hate Arteta.
I think the main. If I could just come in quickly, sorry. Yeah. If I could just come in quickly, I think the main reason for that is because Man City have the backing. They have the history. They've done this. They do it every season. They come through last in the back end of the season. They're consistent. Bang, bang, bang. They're knocking game after game after game after game. They're just knocking them out every time. Us, we don't have that experience. We don't have that credit in the bank. We don't have that time where we've shown that we can knock 10, 12 games in a row. Bang, gone. We don't have that in the back end of the season. The back end of the season, let's face it, squeaky bum time. That's when you have to get in. That's literally the end of the season is the most important time. So we don't have the backing, we don't have the history, we don't have the credit in the bank to do that. I think that's why people will be like, you can't say the same for Arsenal as you can for City, just because obviously And listen, I think we have been conserving energy this season. It's just for us to now go. We have to go and show them that we can actually do that. And we can be consistent. By the way, guys, I'm so pissed off right now that even just sitting here talking football, Morocco just went out to South Africa in the African Cup of Nations, and I'm fuming, bro. Right now, there's a smile on my face, and I'm fuming, bro. But a good game from Arsenal today. Listen, I think we played a good game. Second half, we came out. That finish from Gabriel Jesus, I still now don't know how he finished that. Like the angle was so tight. So how he finished that was amazing. Saka getting on the score sheet again. And yeah, listen, I think Emil Smith-Rowe had a good run out today. He needs to be on the pitch a bit more. I think Zinchenko wasn't trying to get the ball to him. I was saying this on my stream, which was in the half space, which is what the tacticos like to call it, that little bit between the wing and the striker position or centrally, in that space, that's where Smith-Rowe was occupying his space, or he was occupying that space, and we're not getting the ball to him enough. We just weren't getting the ball to him enough, man. And I feel like we needed to get the ball to him a bit more, because every time he gets the ball, he was going forward. He was trying to look forward, trying to get the ball forward, trying to do something. He was involved in a lot of our chances in the first half. But other than that, listen, we managed to score the goals. Got a bit shaky at the end, but we managed to get the 3 points. And I think it's massive going into the next game, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, look, boys, the next game we're going to talk about in just a moment. I want to go to some of these super chats that have come through. A man like Robert here says, please always bring Kate on after every Arsenal win. She always yapping waffleness about fraud Teta and how our win against Palace was a fluke. This is the current top 8 teams. Arsenal playing style is boring.
Boring a second.
Can I ask you any of you a question? Even Nathan, who's miserable tonight after a win, right? Oh, are you joking, brother? If you guys win the league playing like this, are you going to say it doesn't count? Is anyone going to be annoyed?
Well,
the question I've got. Is anyone going to
Fun?
No, I would. It would count, obviously, but I disagree with the point I was saying earlier, though, because I feel like City play slowly because they got better players than us. We can't do that. So Liverpool in the league playing fast football, they got worse players than City and they won a league. We can't just copy what Pep does. We got worse players than them. So yeah.
I don't think it's about copying them, because when the team's sitting low block, there's only kind of one way to play. You either try and pass it through them, or you work it into an area and get a ball into the box. And what you did well today, you did it in the first half, but you didn't play the right final ball. You did it brilliantly in the second half, was counter pressing. So sometimes not giving them the ball on purpose, but when they do get it back, you almost let them attack for a moment, and then you counter press on them and you win the ball back. And you did a number of things that I thought were really good today. And in the first half, there was 2 or 3 opportunities where if the cutback was right, there was a couple of deflections that didn't quite go your way. There's a great bit of football with Zinchenko and Smith-Rowe in the half space on the left-hand side. He cuts it back and the Forest defender clears it, but it almost goes in as an own goal. And I think if one of those early opportunities had gone in, it would have been a very different game, because they'd have opened up and they would have attacked more. So I do think that the creativity was there. There was the opportunity where that great interplay and Saka went through and he shot and it got blocked and it just missed the left post. I thought you were really close to breaking the deadlock in the first half, again, watching as a neutral. And then in the second half, I thought their mistake was they brought on Taiwo and they opened up a little bit too early in the game. And as soon as they did that and they left a little bit more space in, you guys started cutting through them. And what did it take? Like 20 minutes and you got the goal. And then I mean, you scored 2 in 7. I didn't really think you guys had much of an issue tonight. But again, I'm not watching. You lot are all watching nervously. I'm not. It's different, isn't it?
When I watch City play, I think where they excel is that, they move it left to right and they probe. But when they do find those gaps, they are incisive, quick passing, quick combinations. And you see them create, wave after wave of chance or get into, a lot of shot chance creations. Whereas Arsenal, when you watch that first half, I mean, there was that Zinchenko cross you talked about, and then there was another one with Smith-Rowe and Saka. But bar that, there wasn't really nothing. And I could say the same about the first half at Palace. So my critique is not about being, displeased about the result, and essentially 3 points is all we want. But at the same time, it's like until we show a pattern of being able to create numerous chances, because it wasn't like we created chance after chance after chance, we never took it. It seemed like in that first half there was 2 half chances and 2 little moments, and then that second half we got a goal, and then once you get a goal, I think game state becomes a big part of it, because the team has to come out and try and get a goal back. Whereas if it's 0-0,
I do hear you. It's just been a weird season watching Arsenal fans this year, because
a bit of it up and down.
Well, it's not so much up and down. It's just there's loads of games we've won this year, and fans just haven't been happy, and I don't understand it. It's just like, yeah, we won, but I want it to be even better. I just feel like so much that you're talking about football, I can't quite work out what it is. I'll give you an example of stat. At home in the league, home and away combined, Nottingham Forest on average concede 13 shots a game, and 13 shots a game they concede. You had 20 against them tonight. So you even created 7 more goal scoring opportunities above the average they concede. So that's why when people say, we didn't do anything against them, I just think I can't quite buy it. But I just think honestly, I get where you're coming from. I think you're seeking perfection, but I don't think it exists. Maybe it has with City.
I'm telling that to Arteta.
But City, forget Arteta for a minute. City could go down as the greatest English team of all time. And I know some people are going to say, well, we've got to strive to get to that standard. You're not going to enjoy it. If you're not going to be happy until you get to that level, you may not enjoy any of this. And I would just say enjoy it, because football's a mad game. Let's go back to some of these super chats here. This says, question for Arsenal fans: who's better, Jesus or Saka? Who would you sell first? First one, who's better, Jesus or Saka?
Saka.
Well, Hayden's better technically, but I prefer Saka.
Saka has more.
I think when Saka has more in the game, or he can do more in the game.
I feel like Hayes will be a better winger than Saka.
I think it's very hard to compare the two, because they're very different players, in my personal opinion. But I mean, if I had to choose one, I would choose Saka, because I would prefer to have Saka.
Jesus is the reason why we're so fluid. I'd probably give him that. Like,
he certainly is
main reasons.
And just because I've got to get through these guys, and the next question is, who would you sell first? Nketiah or Smith Rowe?
Nketiah. It's Nketiah. It's Nketiah, bro.
Mr. Mad Hatter says, why do people expect champagne football with 11 people in the box? Forest were so stinky today. No intention to attack for 60 minutes. No space.
He's a smart guy, man. That's a very smart comment. Very smart comment.
Can I ask you a question? I mean it in a nice way. Look, I've got to word it in a way that makes sense to me. The dude is being negative, not so upbeat. Is it because you're petrified of what happened last year happening again? Is there like PTSD going on here? Is there I don't understand why last year it was like the bunting was out early. This season, I feel like if you guys beat Liverpool at the weekend, it's like you're at a funeral. It's like you're at a funeral.
Nah,
we beat Liverpool. I think it's just speaking facts, to be honest. I don't think that we're very good, if I'm being honest. I feel like.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I want to understand that logic. How can you be second in the league in a title race with two of the best teams in the world, in Liverpool and Man City, and it's 2 years on the bounce in a title race into the knockout stage of the Champions League? How can you be that and not be a good team? Like, break that down for me.
No, I think we're a good team, but I think that Arteta is holding us back. I feel like if we got a better manager in, like, for example, if we get like a Zidane in, or I don't know, just Inzaghi in.
I tell you what you do, Inzaghi.
Yeah,
I've never seen him manage.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but let me give you an example.
I mean, he's on 3.
I agree. If you could get a Zidane or a Pep or an Ancelotti, it could improve you. But none of them are attainable. So this is what will happen.
You can get a Zidane in. Put the money down. You can get him.
You
Zidane's not joining Arsenal.
Zidane doesn't want. Hang on, bro.
He doesn't want to go to England.
Hang on a minute. He doesn't want to play in England. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a circle. You're going to create a circle for yourself, and you're always going to be angry. Let's say they sack the manager.
I'm not angry at all, though.
Well, you're not happy. You're not. You're
happy winning, but I think we'll get trophies at the end.
You're not, but you're not happy because your team's in a title race and what's on your mind is sack Arteta for a better manager and we might be able to win it. The problem is with your logic. The problem is with your logic is that you'd be happy if you sacked him, but then the level of manager you want to come in is unattainable for Arsenal, in my opinion. Therefore, who comes in to replace him is also going to make you angry because
I'll get the Girona manager from Girona.
You need to sack Arteta with
what's he won that makes you believe he can come to the?
No, but it's not just about that because I still think Arteta's good enough. Because 4 years spent so much money.
So the Girona manager, what is it? What about him makes you believe he can come here and beat Pep and Klopp to a Premier League?
It's good football. Girona won a title race. They won the second division like 2 seasons ago. Spent like £20 million like 2 years. He's got scrubs all over the pitch. He's playing great football. And I feel like
the question is: do you think the Man City group who own Girona are going to let Arsenal come in and take that manager away?
Man City have only got, I think, a 40% stake in there.
They're the majority. They're the major shareholder in the club. Answer the question honestly. Within
the money
logic,
down.
No, that isn't the. Do you think Man City are going to sanction that?
I'll put the money down. It could happen. You never know.
See, mate. Listen, I mean this with respect, bro. I don't know where you're getting these takes from, but they're just delusional pie in the sky.
It's not delusional, though. I'll
tell you why it's delusional. There is a chance that I could leave my other half and leave my family, trundle on off to Michelle Keegan's house and say, look, this is how much money I've got. This is the life I can give you. Please leave Mark Wright and be with me. There's a chance she may say yes, but the likelihood is I'm going to leave my family and get told no. The managers you've said so far, I believe right now are unattainable for Arsenal. There's nothing wrong with saying get rid of Arteta, in my opinion. But you have to come with an option that you know is better, a guarantee to be almost a perfect guarantee to be better and is attainable. I think if you get rid of Arteta, you can't go for another manager where there's relative inexperience or huge question marks over his pedigree of winning the major trophies. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can do that from this point. The next manager that comes in has to be, you have to look at his CV and know he is exponentially better than Arteta. Surely you have to do that.
Simeone then. Get him in. Simeone. Get him in. He plays good football
you know
now.
What, can I answer your question?
They're like second highest scorers in the league right now.
Yeah, I was going to answer your original question. I'm happy with where we are. I just think historically we've seen that to be champions, you have to be exceptional. You don't have to be good. To beat this Man City team, you have to be exceptional. So there's a difference. I mean, I'm not of the mindset of sack Arteta. I'm happy to see how this season pans out. I mean, my questions stem from just seeing holes and knowing that not having these holes makes it more difficult to beat City. And unless we start answering these kind of questions, then it creates this doubt that we can beat City to this side. When you look at our points total as it is so far, and you look at over the last few years what it's taken to win the title, it doesn't match up so far. So either we need to have an exceptional second half of the season where we pick up, a significant amount more points than we have in the first half of the season, and also, beat our rivals in the games we play, right? Or
Nate, I don't disagree with anything you've said. I get you, but
that's more my mindset. I'm not of the mindset.
I get it, but I mean this with genuine love. Fucking enjoy a win and be happy, man, because
I'm happy with the game,
you look depressed about being in a title race because you think you might not win it. Like, I don't like you've got to enjoy the experience. The last one sec, Sard. Question on Simeone.
No, go ahead, bro.
Question on Simeone to young Beckley. I want him to come in and take over Man United, so I think he's a very good manager. I don't disagree with you there. The one thing again, though, that what it comes down to is it attainable? So Liverpool have now got a managerial opening slot. Liverpool are a bigger club than Arsenal. Liverpool are in a better position than Arsenal, according to many people. And there is no sign, no talk, no kind of angle where it's suggesting Simeone is even on the cards. That isn't because they wouldn't be interested. It's because Simeone has made it very clear, according to a few journalists that I've spoken to, that he has no intention for anybody to leave Atletico Madrid at this point. So the point I'm making to you is, again, I want him at Man United. But it's a pipe dream for me. Some Liverpool fans may want him, but he has made it abundantly clear that he just wants to be at Atletico. So this is what I say to a lot of Arsenal fans who want the manager out. It makes sense, but you can't just say, well, yeah, go and get me this guy who isn't attainable, because that's not a remedy for the solution. You have to look at who is available and who's. You just look at the managers that Liverpool are linked to. There's big question marks over all of them, because none of them are substantial winners like Jurgen Klopp is. It's a reverse type of thing with Klopp. I think you need to try and go from Arteta to somebody who has won titles in the past, somebody who has a pedigree. Now, the Girona manager could be an option should they go on to win the league. But what would you say if he collapsed from this point and finishes 5th? Would you then want him as your manager?
I think
but if you're gonna go first,
no, you go first, man.
Yeah, but if we finish 5th and we didn't win a trophy this season, we would sack Arteta before thinking about a replacement. So by me saying sack Arteta doesn't mean saying that I think that man get manager now. That's not my job. It's the board's job. But I would get Flick or I'll get Simeone. One of those two. I thought they're better managers, got a better CV, won more trophies. I thought with this squad and a striker, I genuinely think we can win the title with a Flick or Simeone, in my opinion.
So you do believe that Mikel Arteta has built a team that is he's basically one player away from being as good as one of the greatest teams of all time in Man City. You just don't think he's the manager to get it over the line.
Yeah, I feel like he's not the manager to take us to the destination. I feel like he's got us far, but I feel like a better manager can come in and win us trophies, because if we didn't win a trophy this season and we bought the league title this season, I think most Arsenal fans want him sacked, if I'm not mistaken.
That could potentially be true.
I think But if I go back to the question, though, I get what in that. But why are so many Arsenal fans not happy with just winning another game and closing the point gaps at the top? Like right now, I don't even know why people are stressing about what to do in the summer when the season is still at this stage. I think that's a conversation for in the summer. I get where Nathan's coming from. I just think you man should enjoy it a little bit more. I'm going to do some more of these super chats here. This one says, I love when fans say that we struggle against low blocks, unlike Liverpool, but also in the same breath agree Liverpool has a better squad. Good point there, Eduardo. AJ says we need to give who's NF
Nottingham Forest
a little bit more credit. They defended well in the first half. Arteta had to change tactics in the second half. This team is not as bad.
But I like that from Arteta, that he's changing tactics during the game, because that's not something he's done much of in his career at Arsenal. So I'm glad you made that point, that he had to change tactics.
We're seeing Matt West. I'm seeing the last 2 games. So many more positives, bro. Many positives. I've seen him, Jesus, now on the last man, trying to get in behind. Do you know what I mean? Staying in the box. Now I've seen him finally start Emil Smith Rowe. We finally see him start Emil Smith Rowe. Now he's changing tactics in the game. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm seeing some sort of change. So I could say, you know what? Arteta right now, he's not. Normally we know Arteta, he's stubborn. He's stubborn. He sticks with what he's put on the pitch. He's done it. That's it. That's what's staying on the pitch. That's what's happening. Okay? Until it works. And if it doesn't work, then the last minute he'll change it. Now he's starting to change it a bit more earlier. He's saying, okay, I've made a mistake. Let me try and rectify it early instead of waiting until late to do it.
Yeah, look, I've definitely seen some changes in what he's been doing, but I assume you all want more. Ozzy says, why run to panic stations when Arsenal have 3 goals less than the leaders? Definitely room for improvements, but still 1-0 is but 1-0 is still 3 points, is what
actually 3 goals off.
The team with the most goals is the team with the most goals is
we actually
the team with the most goals is City on 48. You're 3 off of Liverpool that are ahead of you. So those teams have played a little bit less, but thereabouts. Saka 23 starts, 23 GA. He's been crap though, apparently.
This guy
just the raise of standards from the rival fans.
No, but Saka has been bad this season, let's be honest. Today he was good. He was good today, but he's been bad this season, for being honest.
He's a legend. This statement here. He's legendary, because people will tell me that Saka's been crap, but then look at the stats. But then they will tell me the stats when I look at football. Well,
that stat is for Don. That stat is for Don, who absolutely clowns Saka. Oh, he does nothing in the game and then gets one little goal.
I rate Saka. He's not been good this season, though. What? He's not been good, though.
But we need to be honest about Saka this season, right? Because I think he's had more moments in games, right? So he's performed. He's given us more moments, and he's managed to get the goals and assists. But if you're looking at his performances throughout 90, right, and what we've seen last season, what we've seen at the World Cup, right, his performances haven't been as electric as they were last season. Now, in terms of contribution, he's had more moments in games, and obviously that's where he's got them stats. And I credit him for that, because that's what some of the best players do. I think Salah does it all the time. He has games where he doesn't play particularly well, but he comes up clutch with a goal or assist, etc. But for Saka, we can sit here as fans and be like, look, performances haven't been good, but when he has great moments, we can also praise those as well. I don't think the two are true at the same time.
Yeah. But Beckley, when you say he's not been good, what do you personally mean by that?
I feel like I rate Saka highly. I feel like he can become a world-class player in the future, but I feel like this season he's not been taking on his man, being as direct, getting past his man, and doing what he was doing last season as much. I feel like he's been poor this season. He's getting goals and getting numbers, but I feel like today I saw Saka. I saw Saka taking on his man, beating his man. And he looked a lot more lively today, but in the past this season, he's not really been as good really as last season. He's been kind of average, to be honest.
He's been underperforming, I'd say.
I think for me, yeah, when I see Thomas Partey come into this team, then I'm gonna fully judge Bukayo Saka, because missing Thomas Partey and missing those line breaking, you have to look at last season in detail and actually look at how many times a pass was put through the middle or put through in that space again, where I said earlier, put through that space and Saka runs off to it, bro. So many times they done that before in the last season. So many times that a risky pass is just not being passed. You know what I mean? They're not taking any risks when they're passing. Partey will come in, he will take those risks. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to judge him when Thomas Partey comes back into this thing, man, because I feel like Thomas Partey, if he comes back into this team, if he can stay fit, bro, if this guy wasn't made of fucking digestives, bro, then we'd be fine, bro. But the fact that he is so injury prone, it pisses me off, man.
I feel like this season,
I have to disagree, bro, because you can't rely on someone else for your performances. I've heard this before with Havertz and Martinelli. With Martinelli, all right, he might not be playing at his optimal, right? You might be able to get more out of him with you get better out of him with a better left-sided 8. But the players themselves are responsible for the players themselves. You don't make them excuses for the likes of, especially for a winger, right, where you get the ball and you're able to combine, or here's a lack of ability to use his right foot this season, for instance. Like he's been very predictable at times where he's always cutting on his left. Today, one of the big signs of encouragement for me was that he wasn't scared to use his right foot. He had a shot when he came on his right foot, drew a nice little save out of Matt Turner, scored on his right foot. You know what I mean? So he switched it up between cutting and thing, and that's what you want your players. The best players find ways to get the best out of their skill set. I know Saka might be optimal with a Thomas Partey, but he's had moments.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He has been underwhelming this season, although statistically he's shown that he can be clutch at times as well.
All I wanted to just say, just obviously, because I understand you're saying I can't. Don't blame obviously say about players are to rely on somebody else, but the system is built that way. That's the reason why at the moment Martinelli today was just so wide. He was out wide, just invisible in the game at times, bro. Just invisible. You know what I mean? Why are you so wide? I want Martinelli in that space inside, bro. Inside the box, trying to get a shot on goal.
Yeah, and I get you, but Martinelli's out wide because you got to try and spread that play. It's all about the again, everything has an intricate part to play. I think your issue this year, and I do agree with Beckley, I do think Saka's not been at the standard that everybody has fallen in love with him. But I think that's more to do with, again, it's the first season where he's really had to go, Jesus Christ, I'm being doubled up on by teams that are all sitting in low blocks. And it's a very different, kettle of fish to handle if you've never been in that scenario before. And it's I remember watching loads of players, Wayne Rooney's and Ronaldo's and Gareth Bale's, all other players that that had ridiculous abilities, go through these periods where you also get found out a little bit. People work out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Everyone's raving about Cole Palmer at the minute, and they deserve to. He's been great. But at some point in the near future, tacticians and coaches will work out what stops him, where his weaknesses are, because there'll be more game footage and more kind of data about him. And then players will be coached, I'm just making this up now, but show him on the outside or force him in here. Or some players, it's just rough them up a little bit, pinch the back of their legs, talk to them, throw a bit of trash, throw them off their game a little bit. There's a lot of people that say that Haaland doesn't react very well to being sledged and being spoken to on the pitch by his rival. So all these things get learned about you as you go on. The truly top class players learn a way to sort of circumvent this and improve themselves. And this is the real first big test for Saka individually in terms of his career. But why, his classes, imagine being as bad as people said, but still got a 100% return on goals per game when he starts. That's ridiculously good. That's a great base to have, because it's not like his goals have dried up per se. So if you can't perform, at least deliver. I think that's really helpful.
And but we just get told it's excuses for Saka. That's what we get told, and it's just like,
yeah, but you've got to ignore. You've got to ignore analysis that is banter, because of this. You just have to look at the Man United situation. Take it away from your club. Certain Man United fans were like, "How dare Ten Hag out Sancho publicly? How dare the media slag him off? How dare they ostracize him from the team?" Now what you're hearing is, why haven't they done it to Rashford? We should ostracize him publicly. We should leak stuff to the media. We should make him eat his lunch in his car. So it's okay. I thought you didn't want players treated like that. Oh, now you're saying you do. People speak out of both sides of their mouths. We've seen this with injuries as well. Everybody, when they complain about injuries, rivals say, not an excuse, until their club gets injuries, and suddenly injuries are a problem. So when it comes to banter, learn to ignore it as analysis, because it isn't real. Do you know what I'm saying? It isn't real. This year says, I feel like Arsenal fans just like to complain, just for once, be a fan and enjoy the win.
Do you know what complaining though? It's not complaining, it's just criticism.
No, do you know what? It's not any of that. It's just the majority of the Arsenal fan base is just weak, because they've gone through so many years of being trolled by rival fans. Do you know how they avoid being trolled by rival fans? They troll Arsenal. It's that simple.
Like, not trolling Arsenal though.
It's like, how do we avoid getting trolled by rival fans? I know I'll badmouth Saka. I know I'll badmouth Arsenal. It's so dumb. It's actually weird. Like,
it's not trolling Arsenal though. It's just speaking facts, and it's constructive criticism. It's not trolling.
Beckley, let me ask you a question, because I have a show called Straight Facts, which has been ironically named because people give opinions and say they're facts. What have you said tonight which is a fact?
No, but it's a fact that Arteta, we're never going to league title under Arsenal. I hope he does, but it's not going to happen.
Again, so this is what I would say. That's not a fact. That's your belief, right?
It's not going to happen, though.
Again, but how do you know it's a fact until it's happened?
Did you ever think Leicester were going to win the league before?
But you get the point. So you get the point that Studio Hooks is making, and I'm playing devil's advocate here. You're making a negative. You believe it's the truth, but you're making a negative comment about Arsenal. You're stating it as a fact when it isn't. You can say, I don't believe he's ever going to win the league titles. I think we should move on. That doesn't sound as bad as we've got this shit manager who's never winning the league, and that's an absolute cast iron fact.
So let's just keep Arteta to win the league title then.
That isn't what I just said, is it? No. So listen, Beckley, you're entitled to have your own opinion. All Studio Hooks is saying is you can criticize Arsenal without shitting on Arsenal.
But I'm not, though. I'm just saying that I feel like that we're so close to reaching the pinnacle. A new manager could take us there. That's all I'm saying.
And that's fair. That isn't negative. That's positive about your club. But when you make up lies about your own club, that there's something that's a fact that is a guarantee that isn't. Like, why would you do that to your own club?
I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say that, in my opinion, I think this. I think my opinion's the truth. because I believe that we wouldn't win a league at the end of the season.
And
So I think it's a fact.
And bro, well, it's not a fact; it's an opinion.
It will be though.
Okay, it may end up being a fact, and then you can say, "I knew it was." But the point is, how you talk about your club is exactly what. The point is here is exactly what Studio Hooks was saying. What you say and how you. If you turn around and go, "Arteta's tried his best. I don't want him at the club. I really want us to move on to somebody better because I think Arsenal are so close to being champions of England." That's a positive connotation. Rivals will still have a pop at you for that. You think this squad's good enough? You're a mug. When you sit there and say, I'm not saying Arteta's shit. It's an absolute fact. He ain't taking us forward. He's ruining this club. Rivals go, yeah. But the message is the same. It's how you say it. So that's what Studio Hooks is saying here. That's all he's saying. It's not that you can't think you don't. It's not saying you have to believe Arteta's the man. It's how you talk about your club. That's all he's saying. Unless I'm wrong, Studio.
It's not even just you. Honestly, it's not even just you. Like, I see so many Arsenal fans across YouTube just singing from the same hymn sheet. Like, there's so many Arsenal fans that think for some reason Ancelotti is going to walk out of Real Madrid, come to Arsenal, and win the Premier League. But I don't know how they think that's possible, because apparently Arsenal have got a crap team. Apparently, everyone in Liverpool and Man City is better than Arsenal, but we bring in Ancelotti and then Arsenal win the league. Like, it's weird. Like, the rhetoric is very weird from the Arsenal fan base, and I get it from rival fans.
I just say we're crap though.
But by the way,
I think the manager's just not good
Beckley.
enough.
By the way, let me just tell you. By the way, Beckley, you can say what you want on the terrace. I'm just saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate and saying to you, when you say it the way you do, I know this. I've been doing this a long time. It will generate a different type of reaction from your. It's why I asked this question the other day. There are Arsenal fans that say Arteta's done nothing for the club, and maybe you've said that. I don't know, but in the same breath, you'll state that we're one player away from beating arguably the greatest English team of all time to a Premier League title. So when you want to speak about facts, it can't be a fact that Arteta's done nothing. If he's I didn't say you. It can't be a fact that Arteta's done nothing for Arsenal, and at the same time built a squad that's one player away from beating one of the greatest teams of all time to a league title. And I think sometimes when it comes to talking about your own club, you've got to criticize them, of course. But balance is there. I don't want my manager at the club anymore either. But I still defend him where I have to, where it's right to, based on my own principles. So I won't come out and say a lot of Man United fans are criticizing him for having double standards. When he doesn't have double standards for the Rashford-Sancho situation, he's learned from his mistakes and he's handled it better. You know, but so I will defend the manager, even though I don't want him at my club anymore, because me just jumping on that bandwagon and slagging him off, I view that as bringing my own club into disrepute for absolutely no reason, and there's no benefit to it. So that's all I think some people are saying, my friend. This here says, it's like the golden age when nothing was guaranteed. This season definitely feels like that for a lot of clubs. Lee Gunner's rat army is growing. That's why there's more negativity. Listen, I love Lee. I love Lee. I love his take, and I would challenge him in exactly the same. Someone actually said in the comments, Terry, if you challenge Lee Gunner like this, maybe he would have changed. Did you not watch the facts for 2.5 years?
Yeah, every time.
He's not changed.
I challenged him. And by the way, listen, Beckley is free to say what he wants on the terrace. He will not be told he can't come on. He will not be told not to say it. He will be challenged on what he says by people. But this is the thing. There's no echo chambers.
Oh, you're actually jokes. When you said that, I'm just remembering all the arguments that you and Lee Gunner, like, you'd be like, "One sec, Lee, what?" and just screaming at each other, bro. It's too funny,
it's just because I like consistency. And sometimes, you know, as an example, it was only a few weeks ago where I saw, I think it was Lee quote tweeting something about football's not about entertainment. It's purely about winning. And then he's angry after Arsenal win because he weren't happy with the performance. And I'm like, see, that don't make that. It's not even about got ya. I am just someone that's like, I don't get the logic. Like, did you get where I'm coming from? So if someone 1 week is all about winning, and then you win, but then they're not happy, but they're sitting there like, yeah, but we didn't play very well. I've got to call that person out and say, where have you? At some point, you're lying. At some point, you're lying, or you're deliberately pretending you're angry. Because if it's just about winning games, then the performance should never matter, and you should be happy when you win, right? That's all it is. But I like to challenge people's logic. I love saying you can't blame player performances on missing players, but we always used to justify Ozil. Yeah, it's true. AJ here says Saka is the first player to score to record 10 plus goals and 10 plus assists in all competitions in 2 consecutive seasons for Arsenal since Alexis Sanchez did it 3 times running from 2014 to 2017. Star is what AJ says here.
You want to know something mad? He's still 22. Still 22.
Why are we always talking about Arteta out after a win? I don't know. How it actually came up now. I lose how we got there.
In now. Right now.
Lee and Northside poison the youth. It can't be. Listen, I don't think Beckley's his own man. I don't think Beckley has been indoctrinated by Lee Gunner or Northside, and they're entitled to their opinion just as much as he is. And, but part of that is challenging each other's opinions and everything else. I don't want anyone but Man United winning trophies, but part of me, just for a social experiment, wants to see Arsenal win a major one this year, just to sit back and watch the fallout. Because then I don't know.
I'll be shameless of it. I'll celebrate. I'll be shameless. I don't care.
Yeah, but
there you are.
What would you say about your facts if that happened?
I'll say I was always Arteta written. I'll say it. Arteta's my manager.
I love it. Do you know what they'll do? This is what Standard FC will do. I'm telling you, they'll say, "Look, we are the reasons that this happened because we standards high, right? And that's how we got here." That is what they're going to say.
We kept the standards up so we could flourish, bro. This is my title. You lot thank me.
I'll say I'm Arteta written from day one, mate. That's what I'll say.
Oh, bro, that's too
110%. That's exactly what they'll say, and it's just, and again, it'll be hilarious because again, it's not my club. So in reality, I don't care too much. But there we go. Look, I want to thank everybody that's tuned into the show today. It means a great deal to us. Please hit the like button before you go and subscribe. Tomorrow morning, Done Deal show with Ben Jacobs. We've got Straight Facts in the afternoon with Man Like Mo and Sav on the show, and then match reactions in the evening to Liverpool versus Chelsea. And I'm sure that's going to be watched closely by all you Gooners tuning in. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.